Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me is Tim Leiweke, CEO of Oakview Group, to discuss the return to live events and sports. Tim, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
And Tim, you're credited with building the most new sports and music arenas in the world, more than 20 and counting, including the Staples Center in LA, Amazon's new Climate Pledge Arena in Seattle, and the UBS Arena in New York City, scheduled to open in November 2021. How has COVID-19 impacted that?
Well, it obviously has an impact on the job side. So early on in March and April, when New York was getting hit incredibly hard, we lost a couple of months, put in new sanitization standards for our crew with Hunt and Sterling, our project manager, done really well there, back on track. We still think we're going to hit the November opening, but we're paying a lot of attention towards wellness and health for our customers once we open the building. So it's air circulation, it's grab and go instead of a point of purchase where you're actually interacting with somebody at the concession stand. It's sanitization and doing another sweep above and beyond just janitorial, but now how do we clean the building and cleanse the building? So we've had to alter our thinking quite a bit. I think this, if you listen to the smart folks, we'll be through this hopefully by the summer next year, but it's still going to hang in there. This is going to turn from a pandemic to an epidemic, and the epidemic means we got to really think through how we're always dealing with it and handling it on a day-to-day basis, because although we'll put it in a box, we have to be aware that not only will this be out there and hopefully contained, but others will come. And so we are thinking through health and wellness on an aggressive basis.
How is the UBS Arena going to compete with the comfort and safety of one's home? What is the project offering that will make fans want to walk through the doors and give them the experience that they've come to expect? And what kind of technology plays a role in this?
So we've talked a lot about whether or not people at the end of the day are, because of this crisis in particular, will they get to a point where they want to have their content, their programming, and their live entertainment at home? I don't think that's going to happen. I think if we look at in history, and in particular the Spanish flu, and what happened after the Spanish flu, we had the Roaring 20s. And I think there was such a pent-up demand for people to get out, to celebrate, to socialize, and to be together. We expect we're going to see maybe the greatest year of touring and the greatest year of live music ever in 2022. So if we get the consumer confidence back, if we ultimately pay attention to the wellness and the health of the client in the building and the experience, the reality is we're going to see more tours. We're going to see more opportunity for people to come together. And I don't think you could ultimately recreate that experience, that social interactive experience in particular, in your home. And so if we, one, think through how we make the health and the wellness a high priority, and two, if we build one of the great arenas from an experience standpoint, a social standpoint, an acoustic standpoint, and a customer treatment standpoint, I think people are going to flock to this arena. I think they're going to want to go out. I think they're going to want to socialize. I think they're going to want to attend live music events. And I certainly think they're going to want to go to Islander games.
Tim, I, for one, cannot wait to go back to a concert. We've been talking about that quite frequently, and to travel and just get back on the road and see, our favorite sports teams and entertainers. So I'm really hoping that trajectory is correct. Now, this is something I've always wanted to understand. How long does a project like the UBS Arena take from conception to planning to building it to opening it up to the fans?
Well, ironically, if you look at this arena, it's 30 years worth of efforts, vision, and people trying to get an arena built in Long Island. It's always been a mystery to me in this industry for 40 plus years that when you look at Long Island, if it were a city unto itself, it would be one of the top 5 markets in the United States. And yet for 30 years, no one's been able to figure out how to get this done. I think a lot of credit goes to the governor because he came along and forged a partnership with us, private, public. The private sector is paying for this. We're putting up all the money. We're not getting subsidies. We're not waiving taxes. We're going to pay our fair share. But I think he ultimately created a vision with the Belmont Park land where we finally found a place to go build a world-class arena, the last arena built within our generation and our lifetime in New York City, and create it so that it was not only a private-public partnership where the private sector took $1 billion risk, but we take this massive area. We think there's close to 10 million people that will be closer to the UBS Arena than they are any other arena within the metro area. So I think when you get to a point where you have a partnership like that, It's 4 years, maybe 5 years maximum to design it, to figure out how to finance it and pay for it, and then to build it. And you also have to pay a little bit of attention to the weather in New York and make sure that you get it enclosed before the winter hits this year.
Let's go back to the virtual element. When we get to the other side of COVID-19, while all of us are certainly ready to get back to the stadiums and concert venues and so forth, do you think a virtual element will always remain in conjunction with the live event itself? I mean, at the end of the day, virtual experience does help to democratize access for the fans.
Well, clearly on sports, we have proven that the way that technology and the home experience and the home theater experience has been created, it's a wonderful place to go watch a game. I don't think music can be recreated as an experience like you see in an arena, like you see in a theater, and like you see in a club. I always believe that music ultimately is going to be best enjoyed and best when you can go out with your friends and you can activate. And that's one of the main design elements of UBS Arena, is we've designed it so it's perfect for hockey. But for music in particular, we built 8 clubs. There's a lot of social space, a lot of social activity, and then all of that dumps into the bowl. I don't think you could recreate that experience unless you're actually there in person and live. And that's the bet we're making. We have 7 of these around the world that we're currently building, spending close to $4 billion. And I think the one thing that's consistent, whether it's Seattle, New York, Austin, Texas, Savannah, Georgia, or Manchester in the UK, people are ultimately going to thrive to come out, to be together, to socialize, and to enjoy 2 things that I think are the most important part of what we love to do when we go out and entertain. One is music and one is sports. So we are trying to make sure that we pay attention to how the social element of spending those nights out has changed. Less corporate boxes, more clubs, and more of a unique bowl where the acoustics and the experience are fantastic. But I do not believe that people are ultimately going to change their habits. And as I said, the pandemic is a moment in time where we got to take a step back and figure out how to beat it. I do not think long term it will take away from our desire, and in particular that social ability to come together and celebrate the 2 things that move us the most in our life, and that's music and that's sports.
All right, Tim, appreciate you spending time with us on Trade Talks.
Cheers. Thank you.
All right, and thanks for joining me. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.